Hey, um, so one of those things with me is that, and kind of mentioned this maybe before, is that it feels sometimes like questions get put into me, right? And or sometimes I just come up with a question and I don't know the answer to it, but they do kind of come along, right? The questions we live into these, right? We live into the answers to the questions of our life and our heart and our purpose. Uh, when we ask them. And the truth is that the universe uh, loves a good question and will go out of its way to answer a good question. Um, the thing is, they take time, right? And I put a lot of questions into me, and that puts a lot of questions into the universe, right? Because the universe is part of me. So a question comes into me, it comes back to me through the universe, which I'm part of. So you can think about that for a moment. So these questions, right? And that's what we're here for, is to live into the answers to our questions. And these ones that exhilarate us, right? Of who we are and what we can be. It makes life feel like a mystery, right? And it's exciting. And at the same time, it's really scary, right? Um, it's scary to think that you won't be what you're meant to be, right? It's scary to think that it's scary for me to think because there's all sorts of beautiful things inside me I want to share with everybody, right? Things that are coming up, ideas, pictures, stories, right? All this, and it's almost starting to feel like it's going to be a race, right? To see how much of this light that I got in me I'm going to be able to share, right? In what ways we can do that, and that makes life feel very exhilarating to me in a way. And at the same time, it's scary, right? Because I'm moving into an unknown. So, um, sort of this point in my life that I'm at, I'm actually beginning a spiritual education as I am sharing spiritual information. I have a master teacher, and she's teaching me, and so I'm constantly renewing myself, right? And moving into my own growth, and I'm undone, and I still have great opportunity. There's going to be many opportunities for mistakes, setbacks, um, challenges, and all that. And I know I ain't out of the woods, and nobody gets out of the woods, right? Not entirely, right? It's definitely there's smooth passages where we get to enjoy the fruit of life, and then there's times when you just got to put on your pack and keep hiking up that mountain. So, uh, everything in its season. One of these questions that got put into me was this one right here. Oh, you might not be able to read it, but it says, "How does fear help love?" How does fear help love, right? So since they're on typically on opposite sides of that coin, I wanted to know um, because they're in cahoots somehow, right? I can't say that fear is not part of love and love's not part of fear because, in my experience, um, that milk and that water have been mixed together, right? And so they must be part of each other in one way or another. And so I put this question up on this. It's a magnet, right? And I put it up on my fridge, and I look at it every now and then. I didn't know anything about that, and I still don't know all of it. Or anyway, this is what I do have to share about how fear helps love, and it's this: is that your fears show you where your love is not, right? If you fear something, then that's not where the love is. And so it's an invitation, right? That's what fear is about. It's an invitation to move. Sometimes it's moving away from the fear, right? If it's an unsupportive situation or environment that's not in keeping with your greater good, then that might be the thing in itself, right? As you move away from that fear. The other kind of fear is the kind that you have to move through, right? And so every time that you allow yourself to move through fear with love, you grow, right? You grow in love. And every time you meet one of your fears and you say, yeah, we can do this, right? And show up, you grow and your capacity to show up in this world grows. And that's part of yoga in itself, right? That's what I've learned. I've done a lot of yoga, the hatha yoga, and I've done a lot of yoga in the mind, right? The philosophy of yoga, which is much, much deeper than what you'd ever get out of just doing the physical exercises and making attractive shapes out of your body and all that. But the thing that I recognize within yoga is that leading edge of growth, right? You get in one of these positions, right? And it hurts. It's exhausting to your entire body. You start shaking, right? You have to watch your breathing so you stop holding your breath. And the thing is, like, your whole world comes down in that excruciating moment. And there's just you and the focus necessary to maintain that one moment, right? And then you get to release. And you exhale and your body feels better. It feels better because you just challenged it, right? You've taken it to the edge. And because you've taken it to the edge, it's grown. And it feels more than it's been. And then you come into relief and you recover, right? Well, that's what that fear is doing that to us. It's pushing us into that discomfort so that we go into our growth. Because really, that fear is also kind of biting at our heels, pushing us along this path, right? I'm afraid. It's funny, like, I love God, and I have a very close personal relationship with this higher power. When I say God, I have no... it's an androgynous force of life and nature that surrounds us, right? It's androgynous. It's not masculine or feminine. It's both, and the wellspring of all of that. I have a very loving relationship with that source, and the thing with me is I'm still afraid, right? I'm afraid of that. So I understand people who are afraid of God, right? And afraid of coming to it. However, my fear is very different now because my fear is a fear of not showing up and not keeping up, right? And that's really my fear because I have a guidance system within me, right? That's asking me to show up and experience and do my life, right? And if I keep showing up with that guidance system and I keep doing the next thing, I'm playing connect the dots with life, right? And if I connect the dots and I do my portion as well as I can, then God doesn't need to be fearful in my life, right? Because I'm an ally with that which wants to be created to the best of my ability, right? And am I going to always be clear in how this is supposed to all go? Probably not. I still got ego to fish out. I still am in the process of surrendering, right? So that I can be the kind of vehicle that beautiful things can come into the world from. Speaking of beautiful things, I'm going to show off this. So this is my room. And I painted this myself. It took about a week and a half. Mostly, not all that time was spent painting, but just almost just being ready to paint, right? Anyway, this is my space, and it's I call it the Valley of the Dream. You're not welcome to come. Sorry, I don't know you like that. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is don't be afraid of the fear, right? Let it be that which is guiding you towards love and greater expansion, growth, and harmony and healing. And so that's how I'm starting to recognize fear as being part of my process. And not that I'm inviting it in for tea, but if it starts scratching at the door, I know what's up a little bit more, right? So anyway, I just wanted to lay that on you, and I appreciate you, brothers and sisters, grandmothers, grandfathers, mothers, fathers, anybody who's checking this out. I appreciate you coming. So anyway, if you like this, please pass it along, right? If it's touching you, think somebody else it might touch, and put it in their favor. All right. Well, I appreciate you. Take care.